Greetings, this is a Crunchy Fat, and this is part 3 of What If Female Deku with a Ghoul. Now, I'm sorry about not uploading Zombie Dragon last night. I completely forgot about it, and on top of that, I was very tired. Very tired last night, so I couldn't upload it, so I'll try to upload it Zombie Dragon whenever I can, but for now, Ghoul Deku and Dark Valkyrie will have to do. So, I believe also, I do have a image for her Kakuja. So, you guys don't have to worry about that. And now I shall check the code names which got the most votes. Give me a minute. Alright, so when I was looking in the code names, I could only find 2 of them. And nobody had voted for them. And those were Ghoul of 1000 Cuts and Dragonfly. So I'm going to spin the wheel, and we'll see which one it lands on. Let's go. And Ghoul of 1000 Cuts wins. So, don't worry, I will keep the Dragonfly, one in mind. So, don't worry about it, okay? Anyway, continuing. So, we cut to 2 weeks into the 2 weeks where Izumi begins at her first day at UA. As she'd be looking around the building, as she's thinking to herself, 1S, where is 1S? Ah, here it is. 1S. As she would enter the room, as she couldn't see anybody else in the class, as she found it quite odd that there were no other ghouls in the class. As she would go into class and take her seat. As a couple minutes later, somebody would walk into the door, and as it would be her mentor and another girl walking behind her. As Izumi would immediately stand up and say, "Good morning, Sensei." And who's this? Who's that next to you? As her sensei would say, "This is my daughter." Hold on, give me a minute. I should say, "This is my daughter, Keiya Irumi." And yes, her sensei's family name is Irumi, I believe. Yeah, sensei's family name is Irumi. As Keiya would walk over to Izumi, as she would say, "It's nice to meet you. I've heard a lot about you from my mother. She said you're actually quite skilled." As Izumi would say, "Why, thank you. And I assume you're also quite skilled as well." As Izumi's mentor would say, "All right, that's enough. Time to get class started." Sorry about that. I just had to pause real quick to shut the window. Anyway, as their class would begin, as they would begin to talk, they'd basically be talking about ghoul biology, and since both Izumi and Keiya are both half ghouls, they sort of they can process, like I said in the first part, they can process human foods, but they can also still process human flesh. As she would say, as Izumi's mentor would say, "All right, that should be it for today." She would basically be talking about this for a while until she then announces that they'll be doing a exercise with actually, hold on, no, she would actually finish the day off. They would actually finish the day off as Izumi would begin to pack her stuff up as Keiya would begin talking to her. As she would say that it's quite interesting to see another half ghoul, and that it's not really common to see half ghouls out here nowadays. As Izumi would say, "Oh, thank you. The ghoul comes from my father's side." As Keiya would say, "So wait, you mean you're a natural half ghoul?" As he would say, "Yeah, my one is in my right eye." As she would quickly activate her ghoul eye. As Keiya would find it pretty cool because, as she'd say, that she's only been around artificially created half ghouls, so she's never seen a natural half ghoul before. And if you're wondering why I'm stating the differences between natural half ghouls and artificially created half ghouls, it's because the artificially created ones have their ghoul eye in their left, while natural ones have them in their right. That's how you can usually tell the difference. So, Izumi and Keiya would basically be walking out of UA discussing their lesson that day. As they would cut to the next day, as Keiya's mother would say, Alright, so today we're doing a cross-class exercise with Class 1A. They are doing a hero versus villains assessment, so they'll also need us down there so they can test, so that they can learn how to deal with ghouls effectively as well, if the need arises. As Izumi and Keiya would say, alright, as they're then put on their ghoul costumes. So Keiya's one is literally just the same one in this image, and Izumi's one is the one in here, but she has sort of like the Eto face bandages all over her and the eye holes. As they would make their way down to the testing grounds, as All Might is basically explaining what they'll be doing to Class 1A, as Keiya's mother, Izumi and Keiya, would walk through, as All Might would say, Miss Irumi, you're here as well. As Keiya would say, yeah, I'm here, and I also have the only two ghoul students I have to help with your class to learn how to deal with ghouls effectively. As Bakugo would say, ha! They both look very weak. I could probably beat them. As All Might and Miss Irumi would look over to him, as she would say, do not underestimate ghouls, young Katsuki. I've seen what ghouls are capable of. They're capable of taking down pro heroes with ease. So it's probably best you do not test them, or try anything, or try and gloat about how powerful you are. Because ghouls would probably take you down in a second if your ego ever got control. Now, do I make myself clear? As Bakugo would say, whatever. As All Might would continue explaining what they'll be doing, along with Izumi and Keiya, as they'd be separated into their teams, with Izumi and Keiya being placed on opposite teams, as they would be going up against, as Izumi would be paired up with Ida, and Keiya would be paired up with Bakugo. As Izumi would just motion Ida with her hand to follow her, as they'd then place the bomb down. As Ida would say, alright, so we'll need to come up with a counter to to Katsuki's capabilities. So, do you have any plans? As Ida's also come out with a plan. As Izumi raises her, puts her finger up, as in she's got an idea. So she doesn't want to reveal who she is because she knows Bakugo would probably ask, how the hell is she a half ghoul? So she uses sign language to communicate to Ida. As she comes up with a plan with Ida dealing with Bakugo and Izumi dealing with Keiya. As the match would begin with Keiya and Bakugo immediately headed into the building as they would begin to climb up the stairs to the 5th floor. As Bakugo would see Ida in the middle of the hallway, as he'd say to Keiya, "Stand back, weakling, I've got him." As Ida would begin to run away, as Bakugo would yell, "Get back here, you damn extra!" As Bakugo was immediately separated from Keiya, as Izumi would walk around the corner with her ghoul eye activated like this, as she would bring out both her Kagunes. As I'll say Keiya's Kagune is a Kokaku, the arm blade one. As Izumi would say, a Kokaku. I actually fought one of those types of ghouls before, and I'm just gonna say, as she licked her lips, all I'm gonna say is that they were quite delicious. As Keiya would be freaked out by this, as she'd say, "Do you think you could make a comment that didn't sound creepy?" As Izumi would say, "Sorry about that, I was just reminiscing." Now, let's begin. As she would unfurl her Yukaku, as she would fly towards Keiya and slam her Yukaku into the Kokaku. As she would also use her Rinkaku against her as well. So, for those of you who haven't seen or read the Tokyo Ghoul manga, I'm going to explain which Kagunes can beat which. So Yukaku can beat Kokaku, Kokaku can beat Rinkaku, Rinkaku can beat Binkaku, and Binkaku can beat Yukaku. So it's basically whichever one's above them can beat the one below them. So if Izumi would use her Rinkaku, she'd probably be at a major disadvantage against Keiya, but if she uses her Yukaku, she'd be at a major advantage. Hold on. And they'd be fighting as there would be a lot of sparking, like clashing sounds coming from where Bakugo ran off to. From where Bakugo was, as he'd realized that this was a part of their plan, as he'd run back, as Ida would then kick Bakugo in the side of his head, knocking him out. As All Might would say, Bakugo Katsuki has been knocked out, as Keiya would have been distracted by this, as Izumi would have used this to her advantage, and used her Rinkaku and impaled Keiya through her stomach, as Keiya would have collapsed to the ground in a large amount of pain, as she would begin to regenerate. As Izumi would say, "To be honest, you put up a good fight, but you have to remember, never get distracted," as she would kick Keiya, which would send her flying and knock her out. As All Might would then announce that Keiya has been, hold on, give me a minute. Keiya Irimi had been knocked out, and that Izumi and Ida win. No, not Izumi. He would use her code name, as they'd say, the ghoul of 1,000 cuts, and Ida wins. As they would then make their way back, and Kaya would wake up as Izumi would basically like have her laid down on on her actually she'd have her laid down and she'd have a pillow with her so she could like regenerate from the injuries sustained. As Ome would say who is the MVP of that match. As one would say, well, it was Ida due to him leading Bakugo away for Izumi to deal with so that the ghoul of 1,000 cuts could deal with Kaya. As Ome would say, actually it was Izumi. It was actually the ghoul of 1,000 cuts who had come up with a plan to defeat Bakugo and Kaya. There are going, as he would say, there are going to be instances where heroes will work with the ghouls who work with the CCG, and in those instances, you need to be prepared to work and cooperate with them. Sorry about the voice crack. As that is what real heroes do. As we then get to the end of the day, as Kaya and Izumi are in the same changing room as the Class 1A girls, as Mineta would say, as Mineta still being the perv that he is, would start making remarks about Izumi and Kaya's bodies, as Izumi would basically smash where the hole is, as the interior of it would collapse in, causing Mineta not to be able to see through it. And Izumi sort of like has her bandages sort of like in the image right here, because she's still taking all of them off. As all the girls would thank her, but they would use her ghoul code name. But Izumi would stop them right there, and she'd say, "Please, just call me Izumi." Because, I mean, we're probably going to be working with each other for a while, so might as well get to know each other. As the next day as the day of the USJ would roll around, as they're headed to the USJ, as Izumi is still in her ghoul costume, and Kaya is in her investigator attire. As give me a minute. As Kirishima would say, so what type of ghoul are you exactly? Actually, Sue would say to Izumi, as she would use sign language to say, well, I am a half ghoul, so I I'm technically half human as well. So I'm not really 100% ghoul, which is why only one of my eyes is active. As they'd find a lot of the people in Class 1A would find it quite interesting because they haven't really seen a half ghoul before, since they're very rare. As they would make it to the USJ, as 13 would go on their explanation about how quirks can be dangerous and kill people. As Kirishima would say, "Wow, you guys even have fake villains?" As I would look down, as he'd say, "Those aren't fake villains, those are real villains. 13 protect the children." And that is where I'm going to leave this part off. I do hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time. And for those of you who have made it to the video, you guys will get a sneak peek of what Izumi's Kakuja form looks like, but you're not allowed to, on one condition, you guys cannot comment about it, because I'm keeping it as a surprise for those who at least make it halfway through the video. So here's what her Kakajet looks like. I couldn't find it like a ghoul one, so this is the best I could do. I just typed down giant dragonfly and this is what came up. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. Ta-ta!